Staten. Grenier.
Here.
Ollie.
Here.
Boudreaux.
Here.
Brett Howard. Carpenter.
Here.
Thank you. First item is the continuing discussion with Amy Sickinger regarding concerns with speeding on Brook Street and the results from the new speed trailer that's been deployed on Brook Street. Chief, Amy isn't here, but
So Jerry, I'd say maybe we should, I did send her the agenda and the results, and you want to hold that and see if she
we can
shows
do
up?
that.
If you don't mind, please.
Should we do it after the police report?
Yeah.
Chief's report?
Yeah, see if she shows up.
Okay,
yeah.
so we'll move on to item 4, which is the police chief's report. Chief Yule.
Well, I don't have a whole lot to add, other than what's in the reports. K-9 report, it wasn't, he had a few businesses, a few opportunities to utilize the K-9. Our goal with him is to be able to get him out on the street more, and hopefully we can do that. The school resource officer reports, Kyle continues to be very busy in the schools. It seems like he's gaining more and more trust with the students. They're coming up to him with more things, which is good to see. I think that's been lacking for quite a while in our schools. I think that's continuing to be a good process for him. But you can see that he's quite busy. And the summary of major crimes, our detective bureau continues to be busy as well. As a matter of fact, they just had a death investigation today that they were working on. Looks like a possible overdose there, so they continue to be very busy. You can see with these major crimes and their investigative reports, we continue to have issues. Seems like a lot of OWIs. We did see misrepresentation on the bars as far as serving alcohols. We did that as well during this phase, and we can talk about that at a different point. But that happened as well during this last process. Any questions for me on those?
I just want to make a comment. I really, I went through all the school reports and it's done up very well. I went through all the reports, but I thought the school reports were really good.
Yeah, Cal does a good job of keeping track of these activities throughout the day, for sure.
Yeah, that's all good information. And also, we should do item A, which is update on staffing.
Yep. So we went through the last hiring process. We had 2 people that we were interested in doing a background on. One of them was a part-time officer. Unfortunately, he did not make it through the background process, and we had to exclude him. And the other one is just got out of the Navy. I have it here somewhere. It's in here somewhere. Yeah, that's yours. But anyway, he's in the Navy. Probably behind us. Can I finish? I don't need it.
I thought you needed it. You were looking like you needed it.
He's in the Navy. He just got out not too long ago. He's living down in Illinois right now. But the challenge is the academy went to 2 classes, 2 720-hour classes. They used to be 520. So we can't get him in until May 22nd, I believe, is the earliest we can get him in. And we had to get permission from Training and Standards to send him out of our area. And so they granted us permission. He's going to be staying with his uncle that lives up in the Rice Lake area, so it's going to save us lodging. We'll have to pay his lunch for the day, but that's about it. And then we'll get reimbursed from Training and Standards for the cost of the academy, provided he passes, which I don't think will be a problem since he's already been through the academy several years ago. So that's kind of where we're at. We're going to start another process come March. We're still looking for another officer, so keep plugging away. I was actually just talking to one of my friends who's a captain up in Greendale, I believe, and they're having issues up there as far as getting applicants on board as well. Winnebago Sheriff, one of my friends there, she said she had 27 applicants that they were going to put offers out, and she expected to only get about 11 of those back to actually do interviews. So it's all over. It's tough to find officers right now.
Okay. I assume then, Chief, that you recommend hire?
Well, we haven't got everything back yet. We're still waiting for his tox report. His medical came back. His psychological came back good. And that, I think that's, we're still waiting for some of his military records to come back as well.
So would you
it's-
like to wait a bit before we take formal action on that? Or can we do it?
We can wait. We have time.
Okay, all
Again,
right,
he's not gonna start until May, so.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. I didn't know if you wanted to do that conditioned on the positive outcome of the reports. So,
Well, you can't, I mean, it's up to you guys how you wanna do it. We can certainly do it with those conditions that, the toxicology report comes back and the medical, military records come back clean.
Well, he can't go to training till May 22nd anyway, right? So we're
Yep.
gonna have several board meetings between here and there.
Absolutely. He's gotta get sworn in too, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike, is that okay on
Yes,
your end?
absolutely, yeah. Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's what we'll do then, Chief. We'll
Okay.
wait. Item B is a letter from the Dane County Chief of Police Association regarding the immigration laws. And,
I got it here, so.
Oh, I want a copy of that. Just doing a presentation on it, or having it on the program.
You keep that going.
I don't know what the board wants me to review on that. That was just put out by the Chiefs of Police Association,
right.
talking about what their intents are.
Basically, it indicates that everyone has a right to receive services from law enforcement, and it's not dependent on your immigration status.
Yeah, and the biggest
That's-
thing that the Chiefs Association wants to put out there is that we still want to work proactively with all citizens. Whether or not they're here legally or not, we still want them to come forward to report crimes, and not to be afraid of law enforcement. That's the main message.
Great. All right, thank you, and that is just informational too. So, we're down to item 5, which are the two policies, records management and communication.
So I'll make a motion to accept those two policies.
Okay? And could I please have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion, Chief?
I have 6 policies remaining. These are 2 of them that will get us to what we need for the core accreditation standards. There's 39 of those standards. So instead of giving you a bunch at once, we thought we'd do 2 at a time until that's done. So records management and communications are 2 of those policies that we need. It's nothing that we're not doing already, just formalized in writing.
Does it relate to the Spillman software package at all?
Nope. Nope, that's independent, and we're, actually, we should have a meeting in March on that to get that process rolling.
Okay, thank you, Chief. So we'll move on.
We got to vote on that, Jerry.
Okay. We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move on now to, do we want to go back and do Brook Street, or do we want to?
She's not here.
Well, why don't we, if you don't mind, why don't we, let's get through to closed session. And if she's not here by
Okay.
then we'll go back and, unless, it's up to you. You're running the meeting if you want to do it
Well,
now.
Chief's the one that's got to sit here and listen to this, so he doesn't mind.
You want to do it now? It doesn't.
Yeah. You mind, Chief?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay, we'll move on, we'll keep moving. Item 5, discussion and possible action regarding ordinance 17-04, which is amending section 9.29-288 to 9.951.1 of Village of Oregon Code of Ordinances to adopt certain statutory prohibitions relating to alcohol.
Tobacco,
Tobacco, I'm sorry.
the other one.
I don't know where that came from. So we have a recommended motion here, and I'll make it to suspend the rules and waive the first and second readings of ordinance 17-04.
Second.
And now further discussion. Staff, would you like to tee this up, please?
Well, just a point of order. Should we vote on that motion first? And then the possible second motion is to adopt the ordinance. That might be the best place to have the discussion.
Wherever you like. I mean, I would just, either Chief or I will tell you what this is about at whatever point you want to hear. If you want it before you vote on the first motion, we can do it now. If you would rather get past that and do it at the second, that's fine too.
I'll defer to Jerry.
Well, I think we should learn what we're voting on before we vote.
Okay.
Well, the first motion is just to.
It's just a waive.
To
Yeah,
suspend
it's
the
just to
rules.
waive the first and second readings. It's not the ordinance itself.
I agree with Jeff. Let's vote on that and then move on to the second motion. On the motion to suspend the rules, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So now, I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 17-04.
Now, second for discussion.
Chief, do you want to talk about this or you want me to?
Yeah, I can talk about it. I mean, it's basically simple. We had a case where we had an adult who was buying tobacco for a minor, and we didn't have an ordinance to prevent that, so we thought maybe it'd be in our best interest to not allow that, and we had Matt take a look at how to draft that up.
So we're simply adopting a state statute which makes it unlawful for an adult to purchase tobacco for a minor and incorporating it in our ordinances. So our officers have the authority now to cite people with municipal ordinance violations that we can process through our municipal court. And if we didn't have that, we'd have a more challenging kind of enforcement prospect where we'd have to cite people and send them to circuit court for
Correct.
prosecution, which is not as, it's not as desirable a process for something like this, I think.
How does it relate to the second one from the top, the purchase or possession of tobacco products prohibited?
Yeah, okay, so everything on this list, except for the new one, which is underlined about tobacco, is already in your current ordinances. All we did was this is a list of things you've already adopted in your ordinances, and we simply added to the existing list this item relating to tobacco products.
Purchased by under 18.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
So at some earlier point in time, this village board already adopted these other statutes by reference. So we haven't made any evaluation about whether you want to keep those in or take those out. All we're doing is adding the tobacco issue.
So
Got it.
I think, Doug, to what you're asking, that only pertains to juveniles. So that doesn't pertain to adults that are buying for juveniles.
I see.
So we had to amend that.
Thank you.
Yep.
But you're right, you said.
Any further discussion on that item? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Property stuff.
We'll move on to item 6, discussion of possible action on ordinance number 17-05, which is to,
The agenda said 04, but it should be 05.
it should be 05. Yep. Amend section 3.08 of the Village of Oregon Code of Ordinances to adopt certain statutory prohibitions relating to lost, abandoned, and unclaimed property. And possible first motion is to suspend the rules and waive the first and second readings of ordinance number 17-05. I'll make that motion.
Second.
And that's just a formality. I think we can go ahead and vote on that one. All those in favor?
Aye.
That carries. Let's move on to the second motion then. And I'll make that motion to adopt ordinance number 17-05.
Second.
And any discussion from staff on that?
Commander Bryan?
I can sue if you
Go ahead.
want. Okay, so, actually, I think Lieutenant Pagankoff was in touch with us about the procedures that we need to follow as a village and as a police department when disposing of lost or unclaimed property or property that we've come into possession for other reasons. And we looked into that and determined that it's necessary to adopt an ordinance to create some additional options for disposal of property if we don't have this kind of an ordinance that it creates, that allows, for example, the chief to identify different options for disposing of property, we'd have to do almost everything by public auction, which is kind of a cumbersome process. By adopting this ordinance, I'm trying to find the key language. Yeah, here we go, under 3.082A. It's clear, it says that unless otherwise provided by law, property, blah, 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 can be disposed of by any means as determined by the police chief. That's kind of one key element of this. The other key element is, it does say in here that if any village employee comes into possession of lost property, let's say, the Public Works Department finds somebody lost their bike in the park or left their wallet in the park or something, the place to go with that is the police department. And so there are some other elements of this ordinance that talk about certain kinds of property, certain rules regarding certain kinds of property. But the key reason for the ordinance was to give the police chief the authority to identify other means of disposing of property, so we don't have to have a public auction, for example, anytime we want to dispose of something.
So we have a lot of property in our property room that has never been purged out of there. So there's a lot of old stuff in there, bats, glass bongs, all kinds of stuff that really has no value to it. We don't really want to have to send that to public auction. Obviously, people don't really want that stuff. There's alternate methods to disposing of them. Madison Police Department, for example, they contract with a salvage yard company, and whatever they have that has no value, they dump it into a car, which gets crushed down to a cube for something like, an example to do that thing. So that's kind of what this ordinance does. It gives us the authority to do that.
Thank you. Anything further from you, Matt?
Nope.
Any questions from board?
For unidentifiable controlled substances and controlled substances paraphernalia, does that get incinerated?
It will get incinerated, yes. And it will not be at the police department, which apparently it's happened before.
Oh.
Yeah.
Any further questions?
Like in the parking lot or? Yeah, like.
Apparently a burn barrel outside the police department, so,
Interesting.
yeah.
How professional.
Sounds secure.
Yeah.
Apparently it got into the PD and it didn't smell good, so
All
we
right.
won't elaborate too much on that. We won't be doing that anymore.
Okay. Any further discussion? Last call. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. We'll move on to item 7, which is public appearance. I don't believe we have any.
Nope.
What we do.
We do.
Well,
Sir.
actually, he would come under community input.
He'd come under, okay.
Yep.
Item number 8, approval of minutes, of which we have none. Item 9 is approval of vouchers, and we have tonight vouchers in the amount of $4,538,000, $494.50. Now, that's an awful big number, but I'll just point out that almost $4 million of that is tax settlement payments. And when taxes are paid here, and Peggy, correct me if I'm wrong, or Lisa, I should say, they're held in escrow here, and then at this point, they get turned over to Dane County. Is that correct?
No,
No?
not quite. Dane County gets their portion, but then like the school district gets their portion
Okay.
and MATC gets their portion.
Tax-
So we're paying all the other taxing jurisdictions.
Okay, all right, that's why I asked you to correct me, so that's the process for that, but could I please have a motion for approval of those?
So move.
Second.
And a second. Are there any questions on any of the items on this list? Hearing none, I think we can vote on these now. It'll be a roll call vote.
Carpenter,
Yes.
Brethauer,
Yes?
Bollig,
Yes.
Bernier,
Yes.
Boudreaux,
Yes.
The vouchers are approved. Thank you. Moving to item 10, which is community input. Sir, feel free to come up and identify yourself.
My name is Tim LeBrun. I actually am a Town of Oregon resident, but I am running for the school board this term. I'm running for the school board position that is the Town of Oregon, and it's the only contested race this year. I thought it important for me to come to this meeting because I know how important it is that the school district, the police department, the village, and other community-serving organizations are, and that they not only get along, but they cooperate in all the things that they do. And I certainly intend to do that. I've been involved in the Village of Oregon in lots of different activities, particularly with the Knights of Columbus, with the, I am a life member of the Optimist Club, although I'm not a member here in Oregon. I was Scoutmaster with Troop 50 and served with Doug Bredhauer, and lots of other organizations, both community serving as well as youth serving organizations. And I hope to bring that work with all of those organizations to bear in this role. What brought it to my mind most recently is I've got a big pile of signs building at my house, and the most recent sign ordinance made it very clear to me when I could get those signs out, so I had to pay more attention than I normally do when it comes to signage. And so that reminded me this would be a great opportunity to come to the meeting tonight and just let you know that I'm running. And so if you see my sign, I'm the guy behind the sign.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Come and see us anytime.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Yes. Any other community input? Move on to item 11, which are proclamations and announcements. First of all, any board comments? Jeff?
So I just want to thank everybody that came out to the Dine Out for OCRN at Benvenuto's in Fitchburg. The event raised $700 for the construction of the Oregon Food Pantry, so it was a very successful event. I figure there was probably about 120, 130 residents that came out that night. You couldn't go 5 feet without bumping into somebody from Oregon, so it was really neat to see.
Good, congratulations on that.
And anybody that couldn't make that one, March 6th is another one at Benvenuto's. Tell them you're dining out for OCRN, and 20% of your ticket will come back to the village to build the food pantry.
That's coming up here like in a week,
Yeah,
right?
that's like next Monday.
Next Monday.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Jeff, and
Thank you.
thanks for your efforts on that. Any other board comments?
Yeah, I
Go
just
ahead,
have a
Darrell.
comment. The sports place up by it was the Alpine Liquor. They always have a shop on, I think it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, where they have all sports clothes at a real good price. And I talked to the gentleman not too long ago, and they always do the first weekend of each month.
Thank you, Darlene. I'll make a comment. It was the Butter Creek area. I received a positive comment from one of the residents back there, and I went down and checked it out, and I'll let Jeff speak to this a little bit more, but it looks like the staff really went through there and cleared that back. It looks very nice.
Do you want me to comment on that now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we kind of following, we had to remove some of the beaver dams that had been built over the last year. And in the process, we had the guys clear out some area. And I drove by it today again and looked at it. It looks really, really nice back there. And had some nice public comments, both from you as well as an email from a resident today saying how nice it looked. So
Good.
I've passed that information on to the guys and let them
Good.
know that it was really appreciated and something, people are noticing.
They haven't forgotten 2006 when we got those heavy rains, so
No.
we're all ready for the rains this year.
Our hope is that too, if we can remove a lot of that material that's just laying around, to help discourage further beaver activity along that area. Hopefully that'll kind of help solve things out.
Very good, thanks. No one has anything else, we'll move on to item B, staff comments. First thing up is, I'll hand it back to Jeff for an update on Jefferson Street Road project.
Yeah, we're getting a few comments and things are still a little early, but as you know, Jefferson Street is under the Dane County jurisdiction. And what has been part of our memorandum of understanding with the Dane County was that this next year would be the construction and the reconstruction of Jefferson Street from approximately where the railroad bridge is, just west of the railroad bridge, out to Ash Street. It's not going to be a full roadway reconstruction. It'll be tearing up the asphalt that's there, tearing up the base material, and coming back with probably a geogrid material, more base course, and then new asphalt, and then spot replacement of the curb. So the sidewalks will stay the same, 95% of the curb will stay the same. And the plan, we don't really have a true schedule on it yet, but Dane County will be doing the work. They tend to be pretty quick with that, and we're shooting that would be done probably either late June, early July, so we can avoid the school time period. But we'll be working with residents to, well, see, Dane County was just through about a week and a half ago to do tree trimming through the area, and we've been working with residents on getting that done. That was done successfully. And then we'll be working with the residents, just notifying them, and as we get some plans from Dane County to be able to start sharing that with the residents.
Very good. So,
And Jerry, I just want to add something.
Go
If I
ahead.
could. So the Village Hall received some calls last week that there was a rumor going around, that's why I put this on the agenda, to be honest with you, that the village is going to buy homes on Jefferson Street as part of this project to knock them down. So if you hear that, and I couldn't figure out where that came from, but if you hear that at the coffee shop or something, that is not a true story, and that's why I'm saying it on TV. We are not acquiring any property, right, Jeff?
Correct.
For this, as Jeff did explain, we're actually not even going to repair most of the curb. So we are not buying houses. The houses that are coming down is part of the Jefferson Crossing project, so we're thinking that's maybe where the confusion is.
that could be it, yeah, that's a good
so,
point. But, no, as part of this project, though, we will be taking over that road. And
Up to Ash Street.
up to Ash
Yeah.
Street, and Jeff will be in charge of the maintenance on that street. So
Personally, yes.
Personally, yeah.
They'll
And
have
since,
signs
which will be okay, because you're getting calls anytime somebody has a problem down there anyway.
We're starting to adopt a roadway program.
Yep. So
It's not a bad idea.
that will be probably a positive change, and it'll be a new road.
That road is in dire need of
shape.
some improvements. It gets a lot of traffic, and, so we've seen it in other roads throughout the village. That'll be a very nice addition and dovetail really nicely with the reconstruction and on Jefferson Street
Right.
of the Jefferson Street project. Or
North Borough.
well,
Right.
no, I'm talking about the Spannery project.
Oh, but we're also going to be doing
Yeah.
North Borough, which is,
Yep.
that stretch from Jefferson to Batfish Creek this year,
Right.
too.
Now, will the Jefferson Crossing project impact that road reconstruction at all?
Yes and no. I mean, it's like any project, we're working right now on getting the road done and in the schedule that Dane County can allow and still avoiding the schools. And I'm afraid if we try to mix too much into it, scheduling might get to be a nightmare. Because we don't know exactly the Spannery project of what their schedule will be. And I know they're still working with their developer or their contractors and everything. What we will be doing is scheduling our project, which is our water main project, and the North Burr Oak reconstruction and water main. We'll be scheduling that so that we're ahead of Dane County on that.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions from anyone? Okay. Mike, you want to take the upcoming meetings?
Sure. So, March 6th board meeting, and then March 13th, we're having a special board meeting. Mike Slavny will be here to present the final civic campus plan. And then another board meeting on March 20th, and we will have committee meetings on March 27th. So
Thank you.
come here every Monday, I guess, then you're safe.
That's something different.
Yeah, I'm right.
Yeah. Item 3, which is the park board.
Yeah, we have one vacancy on the park board, so if people are interested, they should send me an email, please.
And Peggy has provided us with the 2017 spring primary results. Any comments on the primary, Peggy? Could you handle all the...
14.8%.
It's unfortunate, but I guess I understand that. Thanks, Peggy. Should we go back now and handle...
So what is it, does the board want to do that, or do you want me to invite her to the next meeting, or do you want to talk about it tonight? Or
Yeah, I thought the last time we met, Steve had talked about possibly turning it into a school zone. We had talked about the fact that most streets in the Village of Oregon are 25 miles an hour, and that Chief Yule felt that that speed limit made sense. I feel like the report backed up Chief's assumptions that that speed limit made sense, and I also feel like the report backed up our assumptions that most people feel like the speed limit's 25 miles an hour. So I think personally, what I would like would be for you to bring back a motion to change the speed limit on the street to 25 miles an hour and to make it a school zone.
Okay.
Well, we have possible action here.
Yep.
Can I,
You-
I'd like to, if somebody would care.
I think we have to do that by, I think what Jeff's saying is come back with an ordinance to do that.
Oh, we have an ordinance?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Right, Matt, to change?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And then I guess, do you want a motion, an action to that
If
effect?
you'll make that a motion, then we'll come back with that then. Yep.
Jeff,
Yep.
since you were the main speaker on this, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion directing staff to bring back an ordinance changing the speed limit to 25 miles an hour and making that stretch of road as defined by Matt a school zone.
The entire stretch
Well-
from Oak?
That's kind of, I'd like to see the ordinance as proposed,
Okay.
but the spirit of it is that that would be a school zone with a 25 mile an hour speed limit when children are not present.
So, I was talking to, I think I was talking to Jeff today about this. So typically, when we do things on the street, we alert the residents about this. So would you mind if, I think how we should do this. So what we could do is we could bring the ordinance to you, to the board, introduce it at the meeting,
Yep,
and then we could send that out to the residents saying, at the, whatever meeting, at the subsequent meeting, the board's gonna vote on this. I think we should give them a heads up on it.
yeah.
Is it okay to do that?
That'd be good.
No, I think that would be
All right. Well, I was
appropriate.
talking to you, but I'm sorry. That's not
Yeah.
my fault.
Yeah. No, I mean, that would be appropriate. I mean, it's impacting them directly, so.
Yeah, so we'll ask Matt to prepare the orders, introduce it here, have the first reading, and then in between, we'll send it out to the residents.
Sounds good.
All right.
Chief Buell, is that something that you agree with?
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff and I talked about that
Okay.
earlier today, as a matter of fact. So,
Very good.
the new speed trailer, by the way, works fantastic. So,
Yeah, I saw it. It looks great.
yeah,
Yeah, and it works.
it works well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We even paid for it tonight. So,
That's right.
Bills in.
yeah.
Jerry, so that's going to be from the pool all the way down to,
Well, I think staff is going to put that in the ordinance.
Okay.
We'll see it when we review it
that
next.
whole street then?
Well,
There- there's
there's a
no-
natural island, I think that's about a couple hundred feet west of Oak Street that would probably be a natural transition at that point.
Yeah.
You know, because we're getting farther away from the school, you know, definitely down from the pool, you know, eastward, all the way to kind of almost just beyond the ball diamond.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I think we'll ask our map maker to make a map for everyone.
I'll see if he's back, so
Yeah.
map department's
He's back
up
now.
front.
Yeah.
Do you need a second, Peggy? I'll second it. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So we've had discussion. So, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. I guess now we're up to closed session.
We are in Ted's here, so I'll get.
Yeah.
Are we doing that in here?
I'll make a motion that we go into closed session.
Thank you. Could I have a second, please?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second, so we'll be moving into closed session. We'll have it in, we're gonna have it in this room,
We're gonna go across the hallway.
across the hall? Okay. So we'll be coming back to complete the remainder of the agenda. Did I vote? Okay, good. Okay, let's do a roll call vote on the closed session.
I am, yeah.
Got to do a roll call vote. Doug?
Brett Howard,
Yes.
Carpenter,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Grenier,
Yes.
Boudreaux.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Let's go. Thank you. Hi, everyone. We're back in open session now, and I'm going to turn this over to Attorney Dregney for an overview of our closed session activity.
So one of the things the board did in closed session was conferred with Attorney Ted Wiskowski regarding the notice of claim filed by Patrick Makavec. We also had a discussion of potential development agreement-related issues on the Jefferson Crossing project. We're now at item 12C on the agenda, which is discussion and possible action regarding notice of claim filed by Patrick Makavec. As you know, legal counsel is recommending denial of the claim, so the motion would be a motion to deny the claim submitted by Patrick Makavec.
I'll make that motion.
And would someone like to second that motion?
Second?
Any further discussion on that item? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thanks, Board Up.
We'll move on to item 12D. Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
And I will turn this is discussion and possible action of proposed legislation dealing with the publishing and posting of minutes. Mike?
So, as you can see, we received some information, and there's been some editorials in the paper as well, and Wisconsin Newspaper Association is opposed to this, and it's really a board decision on whether or not you want us to support the legislation, oppose it, be neutral.
What's your preference?
I mean, it would save us money. There's no doubt about it. And I think that, Peggy, they tried doing this a couple of years ago and it didn't get through. It sounds familiar, yeah. I think that it would save us money by being able to put the minutes online versus having to publish them. I do feel a little, I got kind of torn because I know the Observer would hurt, Observer's, obviously profit margin. But if you're looking strictly as a taxpayer, it benefits the taxpayer. We're not paying to publish the minutes.
So I'll make a motion to send a letter of support for the legislation. Have the village staff send a letter of support for the legislation.
And a second, please.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on that item? Everybody understand what we're doing here?
Can I just ask the range of more or less what the expense is for the newspaper ad?
What do you think, Peggy? So this is like, we published condensed minutes. Let's see, high would be 50, say, every time we do it. Yeah, so say between $20 and $50 for every time we do condensed minutes of a meeting, approximately.
And that's every week? We
Right.
have meetings every week?
Yeah,
Okay.
right, yeah.
So we're talking several $1,000s then.
Probably the course of the year, probably, yeah.
And again, we're not talking about not publishing minutes. They'd still be available online,
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're online now,
Yeah.
so. Any further questions on that? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Did you get the
One
direction you
nay.
need, Mike?
Yeah, I did, yep.
Okay.
One nay. I voted no.
Oh, okay, so it carries 4-1. Did you get that, Peggy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Next, we'll move on to item 13, which is report of committees. Item A is Oregon Cable TV Committee meeting. And for those who are viewing that have not been informed, Oregon Cable TV is
Bless you.
moving to the high school approximately when, Kermit? April 1st. And in that move, they're going to have a $9,000 cost to take out a loan. Rather than having them take out a loan, staff is recommending that we upfront them that $9,000. So, again, I'll ask for a motion to upfront the $9,000 to cable TV, rather than having them take out a loan with interest to pay for the fiber optic necessary to move to the high school.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions, comments, or concerns about that? And again, that is to facilitate their move. We're just giving them their money early and saving them some interest expense. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 14 Minutes not requiring action, we've got Cable TV Committee minutes of January 10th, and Oregon Area Fire EMS Commission minutes of January 5th. Item 15, unfinished business, we have none. Item 16, new business, we have item A, which is approval of pending new operator licenses, and these have been approved by the police department for Mahan's Liquor, David Roush.
So moved.
Second.
And I think that's Mahan's.
Is it Mahan? Okay. I correct my pronunciation to Mahan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So we've got item 17, which is a list of future agenda items for your review. And item 18, a motion for adjournment, please.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.